thank you for joining us again. Today, we are going to be talking about what are God's plans for us. And so, by the end of this video, you will definitely have a greater understanding of why God has designed things this way, why we are even a part of his plans, and what is his plan, right? So if you are interested in growing yourself and manifesting a lifestyle that serves the Lord, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to keep posted on new videos. And so how am I qualified to even talk about these things? God gives everyone a purpose. And for a really long time, I thought that my goal in life was to be a psychologist and see patients and clients and provide services. But I was feeling really unfulfilled with that role. And so I began a painful process of healing, of growth, of really going through some valleys and hills in my life. And so that's led me to understand that maybe my purpose is to talk to other women about the Lord and show other women how I was able to really go through this process. And I'm going to be very honest, I am not perfect. I am not, in the glory of God, right? And so I by no means intend to say that, but I have been able to overcome some things in my life. I have been able to dedicate my life to God. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that. So we are going to be addressing or looking into Romans 11:29, and it says, "For God's gift and his call can never be withdrawn." And so what it's important to understand is that God has an ultimate plan. God wants to reach out to as many people, for as many people to know him, to understand his plan and be saved. And God can use us as his vessels to achieve that, right? Because he is almighty and all powerful, and he can do it any way that he wants. But after we, the original sin, he has given us an opportunity to connect with him, redeem ourselves. His mercy is plentiful. His grace is plentiful. And so he wants to, first of all, take care of us, but also use us to show other people what great things he has done, right? Because it's one thing to read it in the Bible, like how it happened so many years ago, but it's another thing to actually see where God takes one person and where he plants them. And so God he gives us our spiritual gifts so that we can be that example. And, no matter how much we mess up, no matter, how much we withdraw, God doesn't necessarily take our gifts away from us. He doesn't take that calling away from us. But with our disobedience, we can definitely delay this process, and we can, go the hard way, right? But with our disobedience, or we can choose to obey and really go into this process with God. And so the thing that is also important to understand is that if we disobey God and we try to take control, as we've spoken about earlier this month, and we try to interfere, that disobedience has consequences. And when God says that he has mercy and grace for us, it means that we can come back, we can redeem ourselves, we can, decide to turn about and follow God at any point, but we still endure the consequences of our mistakes. We still endure the consequences of our disobedience. And honestly, I still have, consequences that I pay from my disobedience 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. And so God is saying, I have plenty of mercy and I have plenty of grace for you, but living in God's perfect will and following God and being obedient takes away all of that pain and those negative consequences that we create for ourselves with our choices. So the only thing that can, really prevent you from manifesting your purpose and for, seeing all of God's glory in you is, one, being disobedient, and two, being disobedient long enough where you pass away and you don't get to live that life, right? You don't get to fulfill every one of those pieces. And we all know people who've lived a life where they're not feeling fulfilled and they're not happy. And we also have examples of people who have lived fulfilled lives and who have accomplished God's go. And if you don't know those people, I really encourage you to connect with more Jesus lovers, God lovers, and followers, because in this arena you will definitely find that. And so for this week, we really want you to think about how you can start to live in God's purpose, right? Besides praying, meditation, spending time with God, like what roles can you take to further God's kingdom? Can you volunteer? Can you teach? Can you coach? Can you donate money? Or time or skills? Prayer for other people, standing in the gap for other people. What ways or what gifts do you have that you can use to further God's kingdom? And how can you be obedient to manifest those gifts so that you can live a lifestyle manifested by God's purpose in you? All right. So I encourage you guys to comment below, to hit like, and to stay tuned to see what God has in this journey for us. Take care. Blessings.